For babysitting, they didn't ask if I had any credentials. They knew that I love children. They knew I worked with kids, but it was basically, hey, can you be responsible enough to watch these kids for a few hours? So there's no credentials required to babysit compared to a childcare center. Hi everyone, my name is Jose Davilus, the founder of Kids in Motion Academy, and I have 4 locations in the Atlanta area in Georgia. So I kind of want to get into a really quick topic with you guys that is a ongoing debate all the time about childcare versus babysitting. So it is talked about a lot, and I really want to share with you guys some points that what I think the differences are between childcare and babysitting. When I used to be a babysitter, it was pretty much in my, college, about 18, in my early 20s, and it used to be one-on-one. I would watch the kids for the parents if they were going out, had errands to run. Most of the people I babysat for at that time were entrepreneurs. So their parents owned their own businesses and needed me to fill in and support where they were out at work or they were at an event or had different things to do for their clients. So that's where I would come in and watch the children for a few hours on evenings, and definitely like a Friday night, Saturday during the day. Then also I worked in childcare centers in that environment as well, where I used to be a toddler and infant teacher. The biggest difference is in childcare, you are licensed by the state. You are governed in the state of Georgia. You are licensed by right from the start and governed through quality rated for kids as well. So you have to follow the strict guidelines, and you definitely have to have the credentials. So in childcare, you have directors, you have assistant directors, curriculum coordinators, you have teachers, you have lead teachers, and those are people that have CDAs or anything above that, a TCC. So they are credentialed to be in the classroom with your children. You have people that cook the food, you have janitorial staff. So you have people in that childcare setting that do different roles. And then, there weren't really requirements that the parents were asking. They were just asking that, hey, when you're with my child, you're very attentive to them, that you are watching them, you're making sure that the shows that they put on, that those are the only thing they're watching, and you're sticking to their routine as far as their bedtime and their feeding schedule and their activities that they want you to do with their children during the day. But it really is more or less like you get there, you feed them, you put them to bed, and that is your night, and you make sure that they're safe. So with childcare professionals, we are intense as far as you are doing training ongoing. So alongside, even if you have a early education degree, bachelor's degree, or a CDA or a TCC, you are required by the state to obtain every year 18 hours of training. So that means every year you have to make sure that you are maintaining that credential status. Some of the credentials you have to renew every 2 to 3 years. So that is required. And you also have to have your CPR and first aid as well. So that's making sure that if an emergency happens, you know how to deal with it in a childcare setting. For babysitting, they didn't ask if I had any credentials. They knew that I love children. They knew I worked with kids, but it was basically, hey, can you be responsible enough to watch these kids for a few hours? So there's no credentials required to babysit compared to a childcare center. Really a lot of developmental things for the children. So a curriculum will have your theme of the week. So your theme could be spaceships, astronauts. So during the week, your child will develop a love for the planets, astronauts, knowing what they do, knowing what their job is, knowing what a planet is, the different planet, what the orbits look like. We are based on a ratio system. So in childcare, we have a ratio for each age group. In our infants, our ratio is 1-6. And at that time, that means one teacher will have 6 children that they facilitate with and they interact with. Most facilities will have a aide in the classroom or an assistant along with that teacher to support them in different areas to make sure that they're maintaining quality supervision. So in a child care setting, at any point, you'll have 2 teachers in every classroom to engage with the students. So even if you have 2 teachers, they may be doing 2 different activities, but at the same time, they're both engaged with the children, because at no point in a child care setting, all the kids want to do the same thing. So that's why you have 2 people in the classroom, and one group may be building with blocks. The other group may be doing art. One group might be talking about, in the library, reading a book, and the other group might be in the sand table. So those are the different things where you have a level of supervision within a child care center where you have 2 people dedicated to watching the children to explore in the classroom. So now with babysitting, it really is 1-to-1. I've never had, when I babysat, I never had 2 people babysitting with me. So it really is me and the children. So if somebody has, myself as the babysitter, they may have 2 to 3 children. I just maintain and do the activities that the kids want to do at the time when you're playing with them. Yeah. So another big thing too with supervision in a child care center, it is a requirement. You cannot leave any child unattended at no point at all, 0. So at no point does a child is ever left alone. So now if in a child care setting, you want to use the restroom, you would have to make sure your assistant teacher knows that you're stepping out, or you have someone from the front desk, or they send a floater into your classroom while you step out to use the restroom. But in a babysitting setting, you do have to leave the child by themselves for a split second, or have them sit, close by the restroom door, because you can't take them in with you, but at the same time, you have to use the restroom. So you pretty much have to leave them unattended. So that is a big difference, where in a babysitting setting, you may have to leave a child unattended by themselves, but in a child care setting, it is unexcusable. You can never leave a child unattended. So those are a big difference in the supervision. So if they are putting a younger child to bed before an older child, if they have to maybe use the restroom, if one of the children need to get diaper changed or use the potty, they might leave another child by themselves for a few minutes. If they have to maybe take the trash out to the garage, they might leave the child unattended. And if they have to bathe one child versus the other, they might have to leave them unattended. So those are different situations and scenarios where you possibly, during a babysitting setting, you'll leave a child unattended. So I would say the key things to look at, the 2 are very different, because I would suggest if you're looking for a babysitter, that's someone where, hey, you need to run an errand in the afternoon, pick up groceries without the kids, maybe do a date night with the husband or a girls' night with your friends. That's a good opportunity to have a babysitter for a short period of time. But with childcare, you get the security, the comfort of having a child in a licensed facility that is governed by the state. They report to someone else to make sure that your child is hitting their milestones. They're following a routine. They are with credentialed and licensed teachers. They have people observing the child for the 12 hours out of the day. They're making sure the child is learning, They're making sure the child is fed. They're making sure that the child has an opportunity to grow within the environment that they're in. So, both things are needed in a life of a busy parent that has children. You definitely need both components, but I would say don't throw out babysitting for childcare, because childcare is very important. It is the fundamental of a child's early development. So, definitely find a childcare center that fits your family, that fits your child's needs.